Okay, so have you ever noticed that putting can feel like the most perplexing part of golf?
Absolutely.
Like you think you've got it all figured out, you've read
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
green, you've got your stroke, and then bam, the ball just sort of sits there on the lip of the cup.
Happens to all of us.
It's frustrating.
Oh, for sure.
So today, we're going to dive deep
Yeah.
into the very fascinating world of putting
I love it.
with Henrik Gensch's Puttalyze concept.
It's great stuff.
And one of the things that I found so interesting
Yeah.
about Henrik's approach is the emphasis on ball speed at the hole.
Yeah.
I always thought, just get it to the hole.
Right.
Who cares how fast it's going as long as it falls in?
Yep.
But apparently, speed is everything.
It's huge.
It's like the biggest factor
It is.
in whether that ball actually drops.
It really is.
So tell me, why is speed so important when it comes to putting?
Well, it's not just about getting the ball to the hole. It's about giving it the best chance of dropping in. And Henrik, he emphasizes aiming for a speed of approximately 1 mile per hour at the hole, which translates to roughly 3 revolutions per second.
1 mile per hour, that seems incredibly slow.
It does.
Why so specific?
Think of it this way. Imagine trying to throw a tennis ball into a bucket. If you throw it too hard, it's more likely to bounce out.
Okay.
But if you toss it gently, it has a better chance of settling in.
Right.
The same principle applies to putting. That slower speed maximizes what Henrik calls the effective size of the hole, giving your ball more leeway to drop in, even if it's not perfectly on line.
So we're talking about a bigger margin for error,
Exactly.
which is music to any golfer's ears.
Precisely. The research actually quantifies this, stating that at that ideal 1 mile per hour, the effective hole size is about 3.5 inches wide.
Wow.
But as your ball speed increases, that size shrinks dramatically, making it less forgiving.
Okay, mind officially blown.
Yeah.
But how do we even begin to practice for that level of speed control?
Yeah.
It seems almost impossible to be that precise with your putting stroke.
Sure. One technique Henrik highlights is the core putt drill. It emphasizes developing a consistent pendulum swing to build that muscle memory for that perfect speed. We'll link to a description in the show notes.
I am definitely adding that to my practice routine.
Good.
Now let's talk about another crucial concept, the fall line.
Okay.
This sounds like something you'd hear on a golf course whisper network.
It might sound mysterious, but it's actually quite straightforward. The fall line is simply the direction of the steepest slope at any given point on the green.
Okay.
Mastering it is like learning the secret language of putting...
I'm all about unlocking those secrets.
Good.
And Henrik actually provides 5 different techniques for figuring out the fall line.
He does.
5 different techniques for finding the fall line.
That's right.
That's amazing. I'm sure some of them are more intuitive than others.
Yeah, definitely some are easier to grasp than others.
So walk me through some of these,
Okay.
especially the ones that stood out to you.
One that I found particularly insightful involves visualizing water flowing from the hole.
Okay.
Imagine pouring water onto the green. The path it takes, that's your fall line.
Oh, that's a good one.
It's such an elegant way to conceptualize how gravity influences the ball's path.
Yeah, I like that one too.
Yeah,
It's simple, but effective.
exactly.
What about some of the other techniques?
Henrik also suggests a method where you walk around the hole, paying close attention to the feeling in your feet as you transition from walking uphill to downhill.
Interesting.
Your body can actually sense those subtle shifts in terrain, helping you identify the fall line.
So it's almost like our bodies already know the answer.
In a way, yes.
We just need to learn how to pay attention to those subtle cues.
Exactly.
That's wild.
It's about tapping into your intuition, developing a deeper understanding of the green's nuances.
Okay, so feeling the slope with your feet. I like that one.
Yeah. And speaking of intuition, Henrik also mentions a technique that sounds a little unconventional. Doing push-ups near the hole.
Push-ups.
Yes, push-ups.
Hold on. I need to make sure I heard you correctly.
You're right.
We're talking about like dropping down and doing a set of 20 on the green?
Not exactly, but the idea is to position yourself near the hole where you can comfortably do a few push-ups. As you lower and raise your body, your spine naturally aligns itself parallel to the fall line, enhancing your awareness of the slope.
Oh, that's so interesting.
Right.
So it's not about building upper body strength for those long putts.
No, not at all.
It's about using your body to get a feel for the terrain.
Exactly.
Okay. I can see how that would be helpful.
It might sound strange at first, but it highlights the importance of developing a more holistic understanding of the putting surface.
Yeah, for sure.
It's not just about what you see, it's about what you feel as well.
I like that.
Yeah.
It's a full body experience.
It is.
All right, so we've got Visualizing water, we've got feeling the slope with their feet, and we've got push-ups.
Right.
What's next?
The fourth technique involves identifying the highest and lowest points around the hole.
Okay.
Imagine connecting those 2 points with an imaginary line. That's your fall line.
So it's like a connect the dots puzzle on the green.
Exactly.
I like it.
It's a great way to train your eye to see the slopes that might not be immediately obvious.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, especially on greens with more subtle contours,
Exactly.
where it's not as obvious.
Exactly.
Okay, so that's 4 techniques.
Yeah.
What's the 5th one?
The fifth technique is perhaps the most straightforward, though it takes practice to master. Visually estimating the fall line based on your observations of the green's terrain.
Okay, so basically just taking a moment to really study the lay of the land before you even pull out your putter.
Precisely.
Got it.
It's about training your eye to read the greens, to notice those subtle undulations and slopes that can make all the difference.
So much of golf is about observation and visualization.
It really is.
And it sounds like putting is no exception.
Absolutely not.
All right, so we've covered a lot of ground here with these 5 techniques.
We have.
But Henrik also talks about this really cool app that he developed called Puttalyze,
Yes.
which I'm really curious to dive deeper into.
Oh, okay.
Because it sounds like it takes all of these concepts that we've been talking about
It does.
and kind of brings them to life.
Yeah, it does in a way.
So tell me a little bit more about how this app actually works.
Well, one of its most impressive features is the ability to simulate your putts.
Okay.
You input the green speed, the degree of slope, and other relevant factors, and the app generates a visual representation of how your putt is likely to break.
Wow. So it's like having a virtual putting green in your pocket.
Precisely.
That's amazing.
And it's not just about one single line. It simulates a range of potential outcomes based on slight variations in your stroke.
Oh, that's really interesting. So it's not just assuming that you're going to hit a perfect putt every time.
Right.
It's taking into account that margin for error that's always present in golf.
Exactly.
I like that.
It gives you a much clearer understanding of how those tiny variables we might not even notice can influence the putt.
That's super helpful.
Yeah.
Because I know, for me at least, when I'm standing over a putt, I'm so focused on just making solid contact
Right.
that I don't always take the time to really think about all of those other factors that are at play.
Sure.
So this app kind of forces you to do that,
It does in a way.
which is really cool.
Yeah.
So let's say we've input all this data, we've got our simulated putts,
Okay.
and we see our initial aim is a bit off.
You're right.
Does the app actually tell you how to adjust?
It does. Henrik refers to this as the target point, the precise spot on the green where you need to aim to sink the putt.
So you're not always aiming directly at the hole.
Not necessarily.
Interesting.
The target point might be slightly to the left or right, depending on the break.
Okay, so we're talking about those curving putts
Exactly.
that make you look like a pro when you sink them. I always thought those were just a matter of luck.
There's definitely skill involved. But a lot of it comes down to understanding how the ball will react to the slope and speed of the green. The app takes the guesswork out of it, showing you the optimal path.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
So it's like having a secret weapon on the green.
In a way, yes.
Now, Henrik also mentioned something called the distance point.
He does.
What's that all about?
The distance point is a fascinating concept. Imagine flattening out the green, removing all the slopes and contours. The distance point represents how far your ball would roll on that imaginary flat green based on the speed you hit it.
So it's kind of like a baseline measurement
Exactly.
that helps you isolate the impact of the slope.
Precisely.
Okay, I see how that would be helpful.
Yeah.
So by comparing the distance point to the actual hole location, you can get a better sense of how much the slope is going to affect your putt.
Exactly.
That's really cool.
It's about understanding the relationship between speed and break
Right.
and how those two factors interact to influence the ball's path.
This is all making so
Yeah.
much sense.
Good.
It's like we're breaking down the putt into its individual components.
And once you understand those components, you can start to see the bigger picture. You're no longer just hitting a ball. You're strategizing. You're
Yeah.
calculating. You're mastering the art of putting.
I love that, mastering the art of putting.
It's a beautiful thing.
It is.
Yeah.
It's so true, though, because I think sometimes
Yeah.
we get so caught up in the technical aspects of the game
Right.
that we forget that there's also this mental aspect to it as well. And putting is such a mental game.
It is.
But Henrik's approach isn't just about embracing technology, right?
Right.
He's also a big proponent of combining those high-tech tools like his app with more traditional techniques.
Absolutely.
So it's not about one or the other.
It's about fielding that synergy between technology and traditional knowledge.
So the app is more like a tool
It is.
that can enhance your existing skills rather than replacing them.
Exactly.
I like that.
It's like having a personal pudding coach in your pocket,
Wow.
providing insights and guidance. But ultimately, you're the one in control.
It's about making informed decisions on the green.
Exactly.
It's not just about blindly following what the app tells you to do.
Right?
It's about understanding why.
Precisely.
And I think that's what makes this approach so effective. It's not about eliminating the human element.
Right.
It's about empowering golfers with the knowledge and tools to make smarter decisions on the green
I like that.
and hopefully drain more putts.
Hopefully.
It sounds like Henrik is really trying to demystify putting,
He is.
to show that it's not some magical art form that only a select few can master.
Exactly.
It's something that anyone can improve on
Absolutely.
with the right knowledge and the right tools.
Yeah, right.
And speaking of improvement, one of the things that really struck me about Henrik's research was the emphasis on consistency.
Okay.
He talks about how even a small improvement in putting accuracy can have a huge impact on your overall score.
He's absolutely right. One of the documents mentioned that for professional golfers, even a one-stroke improvement per round in putting could equate to millions of dollars in earnings over a season.
Millions of dollars.
Millions. It really puts things into perspective.
It does.
Yeah.
But even for those of us who aren't playing for millions,
Right.
even a small improvement in our putting can make a world of difference.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So we've talked a lot about the how of putting,
We have.
but let's shift gears and dive into the why.
Okay.
I'm really curious to understand the physics behind all of this.
Okay, sure.
Because I think once we understand the why, it'll make even more sense
Right.
why these techniques and tools are so effective.
It all comes down to basic physics.
All right, lay it on me. All right, lay it on me. What's the science behind those tricky breaking putts?
Well, it all boils down to two main forces, gravity and momentum.
Okay.
As the ball rolls across the green, gravity is constantly trying to pull it downwards, influencing its trajectory.
Makes sense.
Right.
It's like gravity is this invisible hand that's gently nudging the ball off its straight line path.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
Now, the faster the ball is moving, the more momentum it has, and the more it can resist that gravitational pull.
Okay.
Think of it like a speeding bullet. It takes a lot of force to alter its course.
Right.
But a slower moving object, like a golf ball on the green, is much more susceptible to gravity's influence.
Okay.
And that's why you see those big breaks on slow putts,
Oh, that makes sense.
because the ball is losing speed as it travels. Gravity has more time to work its magic.
Right.
And the speed of the green itself also plays a significant role.
Okay.
A faster green allows the ball to maintain its speed, resulting in less break,
Okay.
while a slower green will exaggerate the break.
Oh, so that's where those stip meter readings come in handy.
Exactly.
Right.
They provide a numerical value for green speed, which can significantly impact your putting strategy.
For sure.
Now, here's where Henrik's research gets really interesting. He suggests there's an optimal speed the ball should be traveling when it reaches the hole, regardless of green speed or putt length.
Hold on. So we're not just trying to hit the ball the right speed to get it to the hole.
Right.
We're trying to make sure it's traveling at a specific speed when it reaches the hole.
Precisely.
Okay. And what is that magic number?
Approximately 1 mile per hour, or roughly 3 revolutions per second.
Okay. We've talked about that number a lot.
Right.
But remind me again, why is that specific speed so important?
It all circles back to that concept of effective hole size. Imagine a ball rolling very slowly towards the hole. Because it has less energy, it's more likely to drop in, even if it's not perfectly aligned. It's like having a larger target to aim for.
So by controlling that ball speed, we're essentially increasing our margin for error,
Exactly.
which is huge,
Huge.
especially in putting,
Yes,
where those small differences in speed and break can make all the difference.
absolutely.
This is amazing. I've been playing golf for years, and I had no idea there was so much science behind every putt.
It's fascinating, isn't it?
It really is.
And the more we understand these principles, the more we can optimize our approach and shave strokes off our game.
I love it. All right, so to wrap things up,
Yeah.
what's the key takeaway you hope our listeners walk away with today?
I think the biggest thing is to approach putting with a sense of curiosity and a willingness to experiment.
Okay.
Don't be afraid to try new techniques. Embrace technology. And most importantly, have fun with it.
I love that curiosity, experimentation, and enjoyment.
It should be fun.
Exactly. It's golf.
Yeah.
It's not supposed to be torture.
Exactly.
Well, sometimes it feels that way.
It does.
But that's a different episode.
Another time.
This deep dive has reminded me that Golf is more than just a game. It's a constant pursuit of knowledge and improvement.
Well said.
And who knows, you might just surprise yourself with how much your putting improves along the way.
You might.
I have a feeling our listeners are going to be draining putts left and right after this episode.
I hope so.
This has been an incredible deep dive, and I can't thank you enough for sharing your expertise with us.
It's my pleasure.
And there you have it, folks, another deep dive successfully navigated. Until next time, happy putting.